Chapter 22. Recognition of the seed God has given you to sow. You will reap what you sow. Scriptures prove it, but not deceived. Be not deceived. God is not mocked, for whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. Galatians 6:7. 21 facts you should know about seed faith. 1. Your seed is anything you have received from God that you can sow into someone else. Thoughts are seeds. Love is a seed. Time is a seed. Patience is a seed. Mercy is a seed. Kindness is a seed. Money is a seed. Your prayers are seeds. Thankfulness is a seed. 2. Seed faith is sowing what you have been given to create something else you have been promised. 3. Your seed is the tool God has given you to create your future. Look at David. He complained about the armor of Saul, but he had another tool, the slingshot. It was simple, overlooked, ignored by other soldiers. It was the seed that God had placed in his hand. It was his supernatural tool. God always leaves you with something. What is it? Find it. 4. Something you have been given by God will create anything else you have ever been promised by God. Tenacity in the woman who hemorrhaged for 12 years created the miracle of touching the hem of Jesus' garment. The loaves and fishes of a small lad created enough for the multitude. Stop looking at what others possess. Instead, start thanking God for something he has already given you. 5. There will never be a day in your life that you have nothing. You may be impoverished like the widow. Many think she had nothing. She had something powerful, incredible, and rare. She had the ability to discern a man of God. She had the ability to listen to a man of God. She had the ability to obey a man of God. 6. God always gives you something to begin your future. David had a slingshot to create a victory. The widow had a meal to invest into a man of God. You have something. Look for it again. 7. You are a walking warehouse of remarkable seeds. Most people have no idea what they contain. They waste thousands of hours studying their losses instead of taking inventory of what they have been given. They look at what they have not instead of what they have got. Listen carefully. It is rarely destructive or devastating to take an inventory of all the things you need and desire, but it is tragic beyond words if you fail to recognize your seeds, what you have received from God to plant into the lives of others. Stop focusing on losses. Look longer, closer, and thankfully at something you have already been given and presently have. 8. Something you already possess is your key to your future. It may be knowledge, money, skills, or ideas, insights, and concepts. You already have enough to create your future. 9. Everything you have was given to you by God. Don't become cocky, overtithing your small amount of 10%. Your entire paycheck came from God. Your eyesight came from God. Your hearing came from God. Your health came from God. Your intelligence came from God. Your favor from others came from God. You don't have a thing that God did not give you. 10. If you keep what you presently have, that is the most it will ever be. When you sow, it is the least it will ever be. This is one of the most vital principles you must understand in unleashing an uncommon harvest. Releasing what you have is the only evidence of your faith that God will provide for you. 11. A seed of nothing guarantees a season of nothing. Years ago, the Holy Spirit spoke to me to plant a beautiful Mercedes into the life of another. I was upset with this person. I refused. I have wondered about the harvest I lost many times. If a seed of something can create something, it is quite obvious a seed of nothing will create a season of nothing in your life. 12. Your seed sowing is the only proof you have mastered greed. Man hoards, Satan steals. God has the nature of giving. Giving is the only cure for greed. Your seed is the proof that you have mastered hoarding, selfishness, and greed. 13. When you let go of what is in your hand, God will let go of what is in his hand. When the small lad released the loaves and fishes into the hands of Jesus, the multiplication began. They picked up several baskets later. 14. Every seed contains an invisible instruction. You cannot see it. It is invisible, yet a small watermelon seed will follow that instruction and produce more watermelons. The tomato seed will create more tomatoes. Each seed contains a specific assignment. The Creator placed it inside. 15. When you give your seed a specific assignment, faith and expectation are unleashed. The widow was demoralized, but the man of God gave her a portrait of possibilities. She was encouraged to plant a seed so she would not lack. She did. Faith was born, and she went and did according to the saying of Elijah. And she and he and her house did eat many days. 1 Kings 17:15. 16. When you increase the size of your seed, you increase the size of your harvest. But this I say, he which soweth sparingly shall reap also sparingly, and he which soweth bountifully shall reap also bountifully. 2 Corinthians 9:6. 17. When you get involved with God's dream, he will get involved with your dream. That's the power of sowing. You create a covenant. Think of a tiny seed that enters into a covenant with the soil. Within weeks, it has cracked the concrete slab. That's the power of 2, the covenant. The widow invested into Elijah. God then entered into a covenant with her that she would never lack in the famine. Read 1 Kings 17. 18. You can only sow what you have been given. Stop complaining about something you do not have. You lack money. Then use your time as a seed. Work for your boss, the local church, or simply babysit for someone overworked. Use your time as a seed. 19. Your seed is always your door out of trouble. It was for the widow. It can be for you. It may be information, motivation, or encouragement. Give it an assignment. It can produce an exit from your present season. 20. When God talks to you about a seed, he has a harvest on his mind. 21. An uncommon seed always creates an uncommon harvest. An uncommon seed is one that requires uncommon faith, or a seed you sow during a season of uncommon hardship. Here is one of my miracles I shared in my book, 7 Keys to 1,000 Times More. How I broke the back of poverty in my life. I broke the back of poverty with an uncommon seed, a seed of $1,000. I will never forget it as long as I live. It happened on a telethon. I had just received an incredible royalty check for my songwriting of $5,000. I was ecstatic. You see, I didn't even have anything. Sheets were tacked over my windows. I wanted drapery so bad. I needed a kitchen table with chairs. I had nothing. So I really had wonderful plans for my $5,000. It was my harvest. Suddenly, the Holy Spirit spoke to me while sitting next to some ministers on the telethon. I want you to plant a seed of 1,000. Well, I explained to the Holy Spirit that I was going to buy draperies and a kitchen table with chairs. It took me over 45 minutes before I fully obeyed him. The next day, he spoke again. I planted a second seed of 1,000. Then the following Sunday morning, the Holy Spirit spoke to me the third time to plant a third seed of 1,000 at a church in Dallas. That afternoon cannot be explained or described adequately. I was in torment and ecstasy at the same time. I felt a little sick inside because I felt like I had gotten carried away. I knelt at the pastor's little office that afternoon before service. My heart was quite troubled. Holy Spirit, 5 days ago I had 5,000. Within the last 5 days, you have spoken to me to plant 3 seeds of 1,000. If this is not you and your plan, stop me now. The Holy Spirit gently conveyed that when he talked to me about a seed, he had a harvest on his mind. When I opened up my hand, he would open his windows. The seed that would leave my hand would never leave my life, just my hand, and enter into my future where it would multiply. The miracles began. That night, a man approached me. He opened a book featuring rare automobiles. He explained one of the cars in it. There's only 19 of these in the world. I happen to have serial number 1, the first one they made. It is my pet car. God told me to give it to you. The next day, a man walked into my office. He said, I understand you need a van for your ministry. Order the best one you can buy. I'll pay for it. Tuesday morning, the next day, a friend met me for lunch. He explained that he could not sleep that night. The Holy Spirit told him to plant a special seed of 10,000 into my ministry. My life has never been the same. Within a couple of years, over 300,000 came into my pocket in life from songwriting royalties. It was astounding. Recognition of your seed can unlock 1,000 harvests you thought were impossible. Your harvest is any person, provision, idea, opportunity, or act of favor that solves a problem for you. Mike Murdock.